Hello everyone, it is me again, Penguin21, and today, well, we're going to be looking at this video. Now, this video in question is something that was suggested to me on this Discord that I just became a part of. Now, to get to the long of short of it, I am part of this one little Discord that is not mine, obviously, but is someone else's, and I was invited to it over Twitter over someone else. Now, obviously, me being me, and because I get a lot of skeptical, scammy type tweets. By the way, again, if you want to DM me, please be sure to do so. Again, I am on the Twitter, and I am also on the Discord. Just find me by my name. At the end of the day, I was invited to this Discord because I make similar content to some of the people there, and I don't know why, but they contacted me over Twitter. I thought it was a joke. Turns out it's not. The egg is now officially on my face, but I've been sitting there in a little bit, and I've been using it to kind of advertise some of my videos. And this one came across the feed because they want people to cover this. So, obviously, with me having no other option here, and with Starfield Salt not coming in fast enough, and me not being satisfied with it, I decided to talk about this. So, yeah, this is the second video in a two-part video series that this guy has done, where he's talking about how Doom itself and id are not necessarily doing anything in particular. Now, obviously, there is a lot to talk about here because there are two videos here, but I'm not covering the first one as that video is now old, and this is more of his updated thoughts. And also, this video is, again, another 10-minute one, which... honestly, I'm not making two 20-minute videos on this guy. He only really needs the one. But we are going to get into what we are talking about here today because of the fact that apparently Doom is dead and sadly not getting a new game. And that sucks because id is obviously not been secretive at all about any of their projects. Let's get the fuck into this.
A couple of days ago, QuakeCon had its first in-person event since 2019, which was my first and last QuakeCon event. Big sad. For the last 2 years, little glimpses and hints about what its software has been working on have appeared on the internet. Some people think that they are making a sequel to Doom Eternal, others that they are developing a new Quake, possibly a remake of the original, and others believe that its software is creating a brand new IP, which, to be honest, I think is very unlikely.
What?
At this year's QuakeCon, which was last week, we all believed that its software was going to get on stage and finally reveal what they have been working on, something that never happened during the livestream and the event.
How can you do this? This is outrageous.
The only thing worthy of mentioning about QuakeCon 2023 was the game release of Quake 2 Remaster, which is an actual masterpiece in its own right. I'm not even kidding, my friends. This game is what an actual remaster should look like. I'm talking to you, Red Dead Redemption. Al chile chingas a tu madre, way. Now, you...
Okay, so if you're expecting me, first of all, to just translate what he just said, by the way, I don't speak Spanish. But I wanted to let that bit play out because this is basically the intro bit that he wants to talk about. And I'm probably going to speed that up just so I don't get, like, copyright claimed or whatever. And, again, this is all fair use because I am using this in terms of commentary and content and stuff like that, yada yada. But at the end of the day, what he essentially gone over is he went over that there was a ton of rumors about people maybe making do this, maybe doing that. But one of the rumors that apparently he... I guess is trying to spin this into a positive or a negative, that they were remastering an old Quake, which they did. Okay? They did. He just said that in the intro. And from the description that I was given over the Discord, this seems to be the main linchpin of the video. And that QuakeCon itself was disappointing because they didn't announce anything new. I mean, in some cases, they might just be taking a break. They might not have anything substantial to show, or they might, be doing something else. Quite honestly, id Software can do whatever the heck they want, and, I mean, quite honestly, they have a few things in the works there as well. Honestly, though, I'd like to see a better Rage, because they've made Rage 1, and Rage 1 was pretty good, if a little bit short. Like, it's a good Portal 1, like a good proof of concept. Didn't really do much to it, and then once the actual plot got going is when it kind of just stopped. So, oops. And then once they kind of got to Rage 2, I wasn't really interested in it. But, yeah. But hey, Quake 2 Remastered. Or was it? It was Quake 2 Remastered, right? I really wasn't paying attention. Anyway, moving on.
Tu madre way. Now, you may be wondering inside your head, my friend, how does any of this confirm that id Software's new game is not going to be a Doom game? Well, that's what we're going to find out in today's video. If you're still hyped about whatever id Software is cooking, be sure to leave a huge like. Let's see if this video can reach 5,000 likes. My friends, I'm going through a pretty bad fever, so please leave a like. My health would greatly appreciate it. With that being said, take a seat, drink some water, and let's dive straight into the machine.
Oh boy. Yeah, so the next, like, about, I think, minute of this video is him just doing an advertisement, so we're just gonna skip over that.
The reason why I believe id Software is not going to release a new Doom game for at least the next 5 years is pretty simple, that reason being the Quake 2 remaster, especially its new 7-level episode, The Call of the Machine, a new campaign where you need to retrieve 6 Shrug data disks and use that information to open a portal directly into the Shrug Maker. Pardon my ignorance as I'm not too keen with Quake's lore, but all Quake games do not share the same continuity, and it's been that way since Quake was released back in 1996. In the original Quake, Earth and humanity is being invaded by an otherworldly enemy codenamed Quake, better known as Shub-Niggurath. No sé cómo decirlo. Better known as Shub-Niggurath. This monster of cosmic horror origins is not from Earth, but from another dimension entirely. In Quake 2, humanity is being invaded by the Shrug, a hostile cybernetic alien race whose only purpose is to harvest the flesh of their enemies for their own cybernetic augmentations and survival. For the last 24 years, fans of the franchise have been trying to see a connection between Quake and Quake 2, but the only similarities these games have is their name. That was until Night Dive Studios released.
Okay, so yeah, I'm also not up to date on my Quake lore, because quite honestly, I have not really played a Quake game. Yeah, please feel free to lambast me in the comments, absolutely, I deserve it. From what I can tell, being the self-proclaimed president of the Trash FPS Taste Club, I haven't played any of some of the classical ones, but I have played some Doom, and Doom is fucking awesome. So what you're telling me is that because of Quake Remastered coming out and the new Call of the Machine campaign, which was meant to tie the two Quakes kinda together, that means that they're not working on Doom. You know, studios tend to have multiple projects, right? That they tend to work on and stuff like that. I know that Valve themselves they don't make games anymore, at least not necessarily, but they do tend to actually make some content. It's just that the content that they make is very weird, and it sometimes comes out in sporadical bursts of inspiration. Now, id themselves have made games, and they have released games pretty frequently. Now, does this mean that Doom will not receive a game in the next 5 years? I mean, I guess I can see where he's coming from. In the previous video, he kind of explained it, that they weren't going to release a new Doom game, and this is kind of like one of those things where it's like, for lack of a better term, doom and gloom at this point. But, I mean, okay, so they made a remaster of the game, and then they added some levels to it using the old stuff or updating the engine, and made some new levels for a pretty old game, because they wanted to do it, I guess? I don't see where your point is here, but let's continue.
first Quake 2 Remastered and the new Call of the Machine episode. Believe me guys, everything is going to come in together at the end of this video. In this new episode, we need to retrieve 6 Shrock data disks to meet the Shrock Maker. And here's where things get interesting. Just who is the Shrock Maker? Well, if you play through the entirety of the Call of the Machine episode, the answer becomes quite clear. Throughout the whole campaign, the game throws you several lore curveballs for you to start questioning everything you know about Quake 2, and Quake in general, like the several appearances of the original Quake Slipgate, a boss fight against a big as hell shambler, which is definitely not a callback to the original Quake's Chingada Madre, which is definitely not a callback to the original Quake's Chthon boss fight, being teleported to Quake's Gothic-like ruins, and a mural with 2 shamblers and Quake's main antagonist Shub Niggurath in the middle. This is the first explicit connection we have between Quake 1 and Quake 2. Thanks to this new episode, Quake and Quake 2 now share a common timeline, one where the Shrock were created by...
Okay, so... Again, he's just really going through the Quake lore here. I'm, again, probably going to speed this along. Because he doesn't get to the point of the video here. Like, what is the point? Like, he says, like, oh, it's going to come together at the end of the video. Why not get to your point quicker? You know? Like, just say, oh, Doom's not getting a new game because they have created this game, and that's my opinion. Good day. Like, you don't need to extend this video out to be 10 minutes, because you're just basically now talking and reviewing Quake 2 Remaster. That's not the point of the video. You're telling us why Quake is not getting a new game, which doesn't make much sense, because didn't id, or like Bethesda and like id, don't they have Microsoft money now or something like that? You know, I know that in the previous video, there was like a tinfoil hat theory where it was like, oh, he was wearing this shirt, that therefore they're making something new or something like that. So, like, I don't know. It's just, what is your point here? Why is Doom not getting a new game? Please get to your point. Please.
Quake's main antagonist, or so that's what I want to believe. Now, you may be wondering inside your head, my friend, how does this affect Doom and its development in any way? Well, don't you find it suspicious that they have been going through all of this trouble to revitalize the Quake franchise? In the last 2 years, we have gotten the Quake and Quake 2 remasters and an all-new episode.
No, because they were trying to do that already. I mean, they already had Quake Champions, which failed. I think that was 4 years ago at this point. And yeah, I mean, it makes sense if they want to try to revise it, because they might want to make a new multiplayer game and they're tired of working on Doom stuff. And since they already brought back Doom, they're thinking of trying to pull the same thing with Quake to get double the money making in there. And quite honestly, I think that that would be really fun and really cool to do, just in my personal opinion. I mean, I would like to see a new Quake type game, because, I mean, there's a lot of games that are inspired by Quake. For example, I think TF2 takes at least a couple pages from Quake's book. But yeah, I mean, makes sense. It's an old franchise, and bringing it back for a new era kind of makes sense.
The story of both games into one cohesive timeline. The way I see it is that Bethesda is paving the way for a new Quake, and they are testing the waters to see how the community would react to anything new Quake related. And as far as that goes, the Quake 2 Remastered has been an absolute success. Never have I seen so much love poured and given to any remaster, especially to one from a game from 1997. I'm sure that if id Software releases a new Quake game, it will be a huge success. Just give it a Doom 2016 reboot treatment, please. Now, talking about id Software, let's talk about them. Right when The Ancient Gods Part 2 came out, Doom Eternal's game director Hugo Martin went on an interview spree with several members from the Doom community. Thankfully, my friends, I had the honor of interviewing Hugo about Doom Eternal and several other things. One thing that always stood out to me is that Hugo repeatedly mentioned that if he was to make another FPS game like fucking Doom, he would try and tackle Lovecraftian themes in his next game.
Okay, so yeah. So finally he got to the point. I mean, again, took him about half the video to do so. And Bloodborne's a pretty good game. But looking over like his points again, I mean, I do tend to agree that maybe this is them testing the waters, but testing the waters by making a remaster, I guess it's hard to say. It's really hard to say because I don't know. But to me, again, this is all fluff and nonsense at the end of the day. I'm trying to see his point that, oh, Doom's not getting a new game because they're working on this one. You do realize that it does take like 6 to 7 years nowadays that games will actually tend to come out. And again, that does... I can't even make good points here because I don't get what his points are. Because to me, it just sounds like he's explaining things. And I know that I'm trying to get him to get to his point and whatnot. But I don't know. It comes off as just disingenuous that he's assuming all of this. I don't know. Also, isn't it also true, now that I'm thinking about it, that Quake is, like, connected to Doom in some weird way? Like, there is, like, a connection between some of the Quake games. They just, like, I don't know. Like, I know that the Doom games are all kind of connected via, like, lore and stuff. And then that also comes down to, like, a bloodline timeline type dealio. I don't know. Very confusing lore. But, interesting. I also like Eldritch Horror, by the way. Like, that's genuinely just a really cool aesthetic. Moving on.
Is, after all, a Bloodborne enjoyer. Bloodborne is a masterpiece, by the way. The reasoning behind this is that Hugo thinks that pointy hats and demons have been done to death, especially in motherfucking Doom, which is weird because Doom is all about killing demons. But now that hell has been sealed for good, there's really no point in bringing back that faction. The only faction that is worthy of being on a fast-paced id Software FPS game are cosmic horror abominations, which are basically demons in their own right, but with more fucked up abilities and aesthetics. El horror cósmico está bien verga. La neta. Because of everything I've said previously, I'm 100% sure and certain that its next game is going to be Quake. And while that is awesome in its own right, it's still kinda sad and depressing that we're not getting another Doom game for at least...
But why is that upsetting? If you're bringing back an old franchise and they want to remaster it and make a new good franchise out of it, also, you then go over the fact earlier, right, that they sealed hell. That the Doom guy in part 2 of Doom Eternal's DLC sealed hell, and that that story is finito and done and gone, right? And is, like, completed, right? There was no, in your own words, there is no need to bring back that faction anymore, right? Why is it bad that there is no Doom game if both Doom and Doom Eternal and both of the DLCs tell a complete overarching story from beginning to end? So what? I'm so confused. So because id decided that they wanted to go into a different direction, not focus on the aesthetics of Doom and demons and stuff, because it's gotten boring to them, that means that Doom won't get another game because of that. And this is a problem because... Like, you see where I'm coming with this, right? That makes very little sense. Right?
5 years.
What?
And to be honest, that's a pretty long ass time. But you can bet your ass I'm gonna be there when that Doom game drops. I am, after all, the Doom Lord. Talking about all of this reminded me to Doom Eternal's last cutscene, where the Doom Slayer is placed once again on a sarcophagus and sealed away until humanity needs him once again. When I saw this scene for the first time, I thought that id Software was building Doom Guy's epic revival, but in hindsight, maybe this was id Software letting us know that Doom Guy is taking a much needed break, and that they will explore other universes while he is away, until the time we need him again.
Yeah. That sounds exactly like what's happening there. It's the same reason why Valve's kind of doing this own thing, where they kind of gave up, like, telling a cohesive story because they couldn't push the... What?
But anyways, my friends, please let me know what you think about all of this down below in the comment section. Do you think I'm full of shit, or...
Oh, cool. So we can actually stop this video now. Sweet! Alright, so he goes on for like another minute, and this is probably the ending of the video, so I can pretty much just stop right here. Thank God. Oh, Jesus H. Tap dancing Christ. So, final thoughts here. I'm gonna be honest. I don't care. Like, here's the thing. If you have the time and the knowledge and the understanding that Doom's story of both Doom and Doom Eternal and the DLC told a complete story, and that they had a pretty finality ending, then yeah, that makes sense why they would end it on that note. That they're going to take a break. I thought that that was pretty obvious. Again, while it might not be the best at telling stories, at least in terms of overarching lore and story stuff, it seems that Doom and Doom Eternal and the DLCs were meant as a kind of way to test the waters to make a better lore universe story type deal. At least that's what it feels like. And apparently, that means that we're not going to get a new Doom game. Now, I'm not going to say that we aren't going to get that. I'm not going to say that we are going to get a new Doom game, because quite honestly, I haven't been following Doom. I haven't been following any of that sort of stuff. But making a whole video kind of complaining about the notion of, oh, we're not getting a new Doom, or oh, we're just, oh, woe is me, is whatever. And you don't need to make this a 10-minute video, dude. Like, the previous one was also 10 minutes. This could have been easily an 8-minute video or something like that. It is just not good to me. In all honesty, I think I'm gonna just call it there. My brain hurts, and again, I'm slowly gonna be starting to burn myself out. So this might be the only video that I release this week. If I do, don't feel free to support me on the stuff down below. Thank you so much for watching. Your viewership is enough, but if you want to support me in other ways, links down below to the Patreon, to the Gumroad, to the Twitter, to the Twitch, to all that other stuff. I stream usually on Thursdays through Sundays. My schedule is a bit weird, so make sure that you check the community tab as well as my Twitter. I usually try to advertise it there. And again, follow me on the Twitch. I will try to see if I can actually stream more. So, playing video games and stuff, and then maybe posting the VODs to somewhere else. I've been thinking about doing that for a while. So yeah, I think I'll probably start doing that more frequently to get more content to you guys. Also, again, I do post shorts daily, so, I mean, they're also kind of shorter form versions of what I do here, but as well as some meme content and stuff. Feel free to check those out if you have time. Anyway, I think that'll about do it, because I talked your ear off enough. My name is GamePango21. Thank you so much for watching. Oh boy. This dude has a very weird Doom priorities. And a peace. Off.
Can I get a